Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting into something I think a lot of us have felt, that amazing sense of peace you get from meditation, and then how it just seems to disappear the minute you get back to your real life. Let's figure out why that happens.
So you have this great session in the morning, right? You feel centered, you feel peaceful, and then, an hour later, some frustrating email lands in your inbox, and bam! All that calm is gone and you're right back to being stressed and reactive. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not the only one.
You know, the spiritual teacher Girish Jha asks this exact same question. And the answer he gives is really interesting. It's not that your practice isn't working. It's that there are these hidden barriers, these impurities in your own mind that are just waiting to pop back up as soon as you're done meditating.
Okay, so let's really dig into this whole experience. That feeling of calm that's so powerful in the moment, but just doesn't seem to stick around.
It can almost make you feel like a bit of a hypocrite, can it? Like you have these two different selves. There's the calm, centered you on the cushion, and then there's the anxious, reactive you out in the world. But here's the key. This isn't a sign that you're failing. It's actually a signpost pointing directly at the specific things we need to work on.
So what's really going on here? Well, according to our source, it really boils down to three main reasons your peace fades. First, those hidden mental habits, things like jealousy or irritation, they just resurface. Second, an unchecked ego steps in and takes over the show. And third, and this is a big one, there's a lack of a really committed daily practice that goes beyond just that morning session.
All right, let's talk about that first major barrier, because it's a huge one, the ego. You can think of its main job as protecting your current point of view, which you can imagine gets in the way of any real change.
And what's so powerful about Eastern wisdom is how logical it is about this. It says, hey, you gotta stop pretending. Real growth, real change, it only starts when you can openly admit, yeah, I got jealous last week, or, you know what, I totally reacted out of ego in that meeting. If you hide it, you can't change it.
Okay, so the second barrier is something the source calls delusion. Now, don't let the word scare you. It's not as intense as it sounds. It's really more like a constant mental fog that just clouds up how you see things.
So delusion doesn't mean you're broken or out of touch with reality. It just means that the way you're experiencing the world, why you think people do what they do, is being filtered through a lens that's a little bit distorted by your own internal stuff.
The source gives us a really fantastic metaphor for this. Just imagine for a second that your perception of reality is like a pair of glasses. It's the lens you see absolutely everything through.
And here's where it all clicks. Delusion is the fog that's constantly settling on those glasses. And where does that fog come from? It's created by your own unmet expectations, your own stories about how things should be. And, of course, it completely stops you from seeing what's actually there.
This brings us to a really crucial point. When you feel that discomfort, that unease, or you get those negative vibrations from somebody, the source isn't them. The real cause is a signal that your own expectations for how that person should be acting aren't being met. The problem isn't out there, it's in here.
So if the problem is internal, what on earth is the solution? Well, it's about making a fundamental shift in your entire perspective, moving from what we could call me-centric to all-centric.
Let's break that down. A me-centric view is basically our default setting, right? It's driven by our own wants, needs, and things like jealousy and blame. But an all-centric view, that's a conscious choice. It's about deciding to work on dissolving the ego and genuinely wishing for the happiness and well-being of every single person, no exceptions.
And this isn't just some nice, fluffy idea, it's a very practical, hands-on discipline. The whole point of the practice is to purify your own mind so that your actual behavior, your attitude, how you treat people every day starts to naturally line up with this bigger, more generous worldview.
Okay, that's the goal. That sounds great. But how do you actually make that happen, especially when life is throwing curveballs at you?
Well, it all comes down to a daily discipline. It starts in the morning by setting that all-centric intention for the whole day. Then you're not just passively consuming teachings, you're actively listening and thinking, okay, how does this apply to my life right now? You start checking in with yourself during the day. How many times did I just react, and how many times did I actually apply some wisdom? And finally, the real work. When you feel that reaction bubbling up, you train yourself to just pause, get silent for a second, and consciously choose a calmer response.
And here's what I think is so cool about this approach: how you measure success. It's got nothing to do with having cool visions or blissful feelings during your meditation. Nope. Success is measured by real, tangible changes in your daily life. A measurable drop in your anxiety, less jealousy, and way fewer complaints and blaming.
So, at the end of the day, lasting peace isn't about finding some temporary escape from the world. It's about doing the hard work of constantly cleaning the lens of our own perception. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What one unmet expectation might be fogging up your glasses and driving your reactions today?